Hey guys, my name's Seth, I'm 29 years old, and this is my story of why I left the church to overcome an addiction. First of all, I want to say that I'm not here to put any dirt on the Mormon church. I'm just here to share my experience of why I left the Mormon church in order to overcome something that I had been struggling with my whole life. So just a little bit of background about me. I was born into the church. I was born into a Mormon family, and I was baptized when I was 8 years old. And so I grew up in the church. When I was 11 years old, I stayed the night at my non-member friend's house, and he put pornography on the TV. And I was sitting there with a few of my friends, and my heart dropped. I knew that I was like, man, I should not be here. I should not be here right now. There was a bit of peer pressure involved. They were saying, oh, don't worry about it. It's just watch it. It's all good. It's all good. And so I'm sitting here watching this. It was life-changing for me. So I was 11 years old, and I was starting to form this addiction in my life, and it got worse and worse and worse as my life progressed. And as I started getting older, 15, 16, 17, I started getting depressed. I started feeling really guilty. I was going to church, in and out of church, and I was feeling guilty in church. I felt like I didn't belong there. Depression kicked in. I started using drugs. I started using marijuana, and it all started to just pile up on me. So I was about 18 years old now, and I hit a point in my life, the lowest point, where I decided, man, I need some changes. I need to make some changes. So basically, I was doing a bit of research myself into the Book of Mormon and really starting to get serious about what this church was about. Long story short, I had an experience with God. I had an experience through prayer, and it showed me that God is real. And so I experienced this amazing change. My heart changed, the addictions dropped, everything dropped. The things that I was struggling with just vanished, and I just became a new person. I became very passionate about the Book of Mormon. I became very passionate about the church. I used to take the missionaries over to my friend's house, and I sat all my friends down, and I was teaching them about the Book of Mormon. I was very passionate about it. I went and served a 2-year mission in Mozambique, East Africa. It was an amazing experience. I finished my mission and came home after 2 years, and this addiction came back. So I started really diving into it. I understood the atonement. I understood the things that the church were teaching. I understood the basic doctrine of the church, but I still had this addiction. I still had this problem. I became so frustrated. I was like, why is this problem still here? Why am I still dealing with this? I went and saw one bishop, and he said, just go for a run. I tried that, and that wouldn't work. I went and saw another bishop, and he said, when you start getting these urges, make sure you've got a hymn ready in your head and start singing this hymn, and hopefully it would all vanish. And that didn't work either. I got asked to do the 12-week addiction recovery program. I did that. I didn't miss a class. I did all 12 weeks. It helped for a little bit, but I was bouncing back up and down, up and down, up and down. I was going around in circles, and it became so frustrating for me because I felt like nothing was working. I had priesthood blessings given to me. Those weren't working either. Anyways, fast forward a few years, I meet my wife in the church. We have a couple kids, but this problem is still there. This problem is still present. This addiction is just ruining my life, ruining our relationship, ruining my relationship with my kids, and it was just absolutely tearing my family apart. We're traveling up to the temple a lot. Obviously, I couldn't go inside the temple, so we'd sit outside the temple and we'd just talk about the temple. I'd pray to God. I'd ask the Lord to deliver me. I'd fast. We'd listen to what the prophet and all the apostles said, and nothing was working. And we were reading the Book of Mormon daily. Daily. Joseph Smith says in the introduction that a man will grow closer to God by abiding by the precepts of the Book of Mormon more than any other book on earth. And it became so frustrating for me because I felt like I was doing all that I could to learn and to apply what I was learning in the Book of Mormon and in the church, but nothing was working. I became so frustrated. Porn addiction was now turning into me actually starting to message someone outside of the relationship. Me and my wife sat down, and she pretty much said, I'm at the end of the road here. If you can't overcome this addiction, I don't know if I can take it anymore. I don't know if I can take being cheated on anymore. I'm finished. I'm going to take the kids, and I'm going to go. So now I'm about to lose my wife. And the problem wasn't that I didn't have the desire. The problem was that I didn't know how to change. The problem was that I was applying everything that this church was teaching me, and that nothing was working. So now depression is kicking in majorly, and I'm really starting to think of suicide. I remember driving off with the phone by myself, and I was researching how to kill myself. I was looking up all these different ways of how to end my life. And I thought to myself, man, this is real, man. I'm at the end of the line right now. So I shut the phone off and I started driving home ASAP. And I was thinking to myself, man, I've done everything that this church has asked me to do and nothing is working. I can either keep going this way, I can either keep going this way and lose my wife, or I can try something else. I can try another faith. I can try another church. I can try something else. So we found a little Christian group that we started going to, and they were teaching just the Bible. I met a man there, and he offered to come over to the house and teach us. So he came over, and we all started learning about this message that he was teaching in the Bible alone. And one thing that I started noticing really quickly was the message was different. It sounded the same. It had the same words, but it was a different message. I was hearing something that was different. So he was coming over once a week for probably about a couple months, and everything started changing for me. So I applied this message from the Bible. I put it all in God's hands. I said, you know what? I'm not good enough. I'm a sinner. I can't do this. I'm going to put it all in your hands. You do it. You do it, and you do it alone. Give me this gift of freedom. And it worked. And it worked very quickly. I got this fire for Jesus Christ put in my heart. I became a new person. All these addictions started falling off me. I threw away my bong. I threw away my weed. I threw away the drugs. I didn't need pornography anymore. My relationship with my wife improved. My relationship with my kids improved. Depression left. Suicidal thoughts left. It says in John 8, who the Son therefore shall make free shall be free indeed. Not a half freedom, not a little bit of freedom, a full freedom. And I was experiencing this through the message of the Bible. So what happened when I was 18 years old? Why did I fall after I had received this feeling when I was 18 years old? All throughout my life, I had developed this bitterness towards God because I was so angry as to why I wasn't changing. I was angry. I was angry at God because I was pleading for Him to help me, and I just felt like He wasn't answering me. But then I realized the problem wasn't with God. The problem was with doctrine. The problem was, respectfully, that the Mormon church was saying, this is what God's like and this is what He expects of you. But over here in plain Christianity and in the Bible, they were saying, this is what God's like, and you don't have to do a thing for His gift. The Book of Mormon teaches in 2 Nephi 25:23, by grace are ye saved after all we can do. The Bible teaches Ephesians 2:8-9, for by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, but it is the gift of God, not of works. In the Book of Mormon, in Moroni 10:32, it says, if ye shall deny yourselves of all ungodliness, that's including pornography, and love God with all your might, mind, and strength, then is His grace sufficient for you. But over here in the Bible, in Titus 3:5, this is Paul speaking. Paul was a killer of Christians, and he was converted by Jesus. So Paul's basically saying, man, I was a ruthless killer. And this is what he said about his salvation. He says, I was saved not by any works of righteousness which we have done, but by mercy He saved us. It wasn't works, it wasn't anything he did, it was mercy, pure mercy. So I'm looking at these two messages, the one from the Book of Mormon and the Mormon church, and the one from the Bible and the Bible alone, and they're different. One saying work, do the best that you can, and God will do the rest. The other one is saying it's a gift freely given, and it's not from works. If you had eczema and I gave you 2 pots of eczema cream, one of the creams worked and one of the creams didn't, which pot would you use? Obviously the cream that works. So as I started to dig deeper into this message from the Bible, I started realizing very quickly this isn't just about clearing up my life or making my life better. This was about salvation. And I started seeing very clearly that the message from the Bible and the message from the Mormon church and the Book of Mormon was very different. But this is how I came to know for myself that Joseph Smith was a false prophet. The Mormon church was a false religion. And that the Book of Mormon wasn't true. And I learned that salvation could not be found in the Mormon church, but in Jesus Christ alone. Jesus Christ has made me free, and not by any religion or by any teachings of anyone else, but by the Bible and the Bible alone, which are the teachings of Jesus Christ Himself. So if you're in the LDS church and you have any doubts, or something's just not adding up or making sense, I invite you to do what Jesus taught us to do. Seek and ye shall find, ask and ye shall receive, knock and it shall be opened unto you. That's another issue that I saw in the Mormon church, is that they say, seek all you want, no worries, go have a look, just inside these borders. They ask in the temple recommend questions, do you affiliate yourself with anyone that is outside the church that is against the church? And pretty much any other religion that is not a part of that religion is against the religion. So you can only really affiliate yourself with people who agree with the church. And so it's not real seeking, it's not honest, sincere seeking to know the truth. And it can be very scary to step outside of something that you've grown up with, something that you've known your whole life from A, B, C, D, all the way to Z, everything's organized, and you're stepping out into this world of the unknown. But may I suggest that you start with the Bible, the Holy Bible, and in particular, the life of Jesus Christ. In 1 Peter 2:2 it says, as newborn babes, let us desire the sincere milk of the word that we may grow thereby. We have to read this book as a baby, no preconceived thoughts. Just read it as a baby and take it for what it is and apply the message, see what happens. And if you are thinking about leaving the church, please, don't feel like you have to leave God. Because I'm telling you, after leaving the LDS church, my relationship with God and with Jesus Christ is so much better, is so much sweeter. A lot of people leave the Mormon church and they feel like they can't find God after that. They're like, where do I look? Have a look throughout your life and ask yourself, have I had any experiences that have shown me that there is a God? What we tend to do is we tend to credit our experiences with the church that we belong to. We credit the experiences we have with God with the church. So please start reading the life of Jesus Christ as a newborn baby. Take it for what it is. Whatever Jesus says, believe it. And the last thing that I want to say is this: for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. That's a promise from Jesus. You will not perish if you believe in Jesus Christ. That's the good news. That's the gospel. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to work our way or earn our salvation or prove ourselves. God loves us so much that he gave his only Son, that all we have to do is look to him and believe. And the way that we gain belief in him is by reading his word, by reading his story and letting it sink in. Ask for grace. Ask for mercy from the Lord. Ask him to show you. Ask him for wisdom. He will show you the way. There is salvation and there is Jesus Christ outside of the Mormon church. So this is my story, and thanks for listening.